Hello everyone and welcome to Real Life Racing episode 6 and the 5th round of the championship. So I qualified in 7th for this first race because the qualifying session was a little bit of a lottery because there was rain every now and again, just a bit of light drizzle as you can see on the screen. You know, the camera is still a little bit wet from it, and it was kind of, you know, a bit of a lottery in terms of whether you managed to get a good lap in, when you got a good lap in, things like that. I didn't feel like I got a great lap during the qualifying, which is why I ended up 7th. But I managed to get a good start at the start of the race and go from 7th all the way to 4th. So that's not too bad in the first corner, and I have noticed that my starts are getting a little bit better than what they were, and I did mention in a previous episode that that's something that I wanted to work on. So yeah, I managed to get into 4th, and then I spent sort of the first lap and a bit consolidating that position. Again, I'm going into it with the same sort of mindset as I did with the last round, where I'm just looking for good, solid, consistent, high-placed scores to get some good points on the board, and you know that helps me to not push too much, if you like, and end up making stupid mistakes. So basically, in this one, I didn't feel like I was really all with it at this in this round. I felt a little bit out there, you know, not totally. My mind wasn't totally focused on what I was meant to be doing whilst I was racing, and that really, you know, you can tell a little bit in terms of I get kind of sporadic lap times at times, and I make a little few errors and things like that. So you know, although you can go into a race and put everything out of your mind and just, you know, get on with what you're doing and focus on the race, sometimes you're just not with it. You're not fully 100% in there, and this was one of those moments, and that's why this is called distinctly average. And this is why the title of this video is Distinctly Average, because that's the kind of it's pretty much how I would describe this round, if you like. It's pretty average. Having said that, for this to be an average round for me, that's a massive improvement on what I used to be like. So you know, there's all sorts of things positives you can get out of many different things. So yeah, basically we're on lap 5 now, and I've managed to catch up to the two guys in front in 2nd and 3rd places, and I'm basically going for an overtake on 3rd place. Now it obviously doesn't come off there. So later on in the lap, once I've caught up again, this is lap 8, I do try again, and you know, I feel that I do have a bit of speed in the kart. You know, I'm not getting too bad in terms of lap times, so I should be able to, if I can get past him, then go on and push for 2nd place. Now obviously it is getting to the end of the race, so time is of the essence, if you like. You know, if you're going to make a move, you have to do it now. Although I am aware that there is someone right behind me as well in 5th place, so you know, if I do go for a move and it doesn't come off and I make a bit of a mistake, then I will be punished for it. But I'm also aware that the guy in 6th place is reasonably far behind, so if I do make a mistake, you know, the worst thing that I'm going to do is lose 1 place, and that comes from consolidating my position at the start and basically being up there with the faster guys and being able to make a bit of a gap to everybody else. So this is coming to the end of the lap. I do make a move up the inside there. I think I've got the move done, but he comes up the inside on the last corner and runs me out a little bit wide there, and I lose a position. You know, that's what I was saying. That was the mistake that I made, and I ended up losing a position for it. And you know, I end up in 5th place. So I shook my head there, and that's mainly annoyed at myself, if you like. You know, because really, I should have known that he was going to run me out wide there. You know, that's the natural racing line for him. I would have done the same thing probably. You know, I should have known that, backed out and tried a different line around the corner. Maybe I would have been able to take him into the first corner instead, and I probably wouldn't have lost that 4th place. So yeah, it was a bit of an annoying sort of little mistake there, and a bit disappointing that I'd made that mistake, and I did end up losing a place because of it. But you know, this is what I was saying about, you know, sometimes you make these mistakes, sometimes you're not totally 100% making all the right decisions all of the time, and that's what happens here, and that's what made me lose this place. Now obviously there is a good battle in front of me where the guy who was in 5th is trying to get up into 3rd, which is what I was trying to do, and he does actually eventually do it. And this is something that I've realised myself, that I think my overtaking, I'm not quite as aggressive maybe, or quite as good, if you like, at overtaking as I should be, because it seems like I tend to get held up by people a lot more than other people do. I'm not too bad when it comes to defending, but when it comes to overtaking, I think I should be able to make these overtakes a lot quicker. By the way, that's a back marker there who we are coming around to lap, so that doesn't affect anything. But yeah, this guy does get the overtake done eventually, and that's an overtake that I've done myself, obviously, and I go for the overtake to follow him through, but I don't have the speed on him at that point, and I end up finishing 5th. So 5th is pretty, it's pretty average. It's not too bad. I'm quite happy with 5th. It could have been 4th, maybe it could have been 3rd if I was a bit better at overtaking. But yeah, 5th is out of 30. 5th is quite a decent result, and it gives me some solid points. So I shouldn't be too disappointed with that. And that, in this mode where I'm just looking for some points, I'm quite happy with that. That's getting me some nice points for the championship, and just in general, you need points in these heats to get a good position for the final. So 5th place, not too bad at all, really. So obviously for race 2, I start in 5th again. Obviously you always start where you finished the previous race, and it's quite a slow formation lap round to the start line. But then we get going again, and again I have another reasonably decent start where I managed to get up the inside here, and I actually get up the inside on the first corner and get into 4th once again. So I've made up places at both of the starts here, and I'm basically up into 4th once again. So this is quite a hectic first lap, if you like, really, because lots of things happen. Obviously there's a little bit of a hit into the that corner there because it's all concertinas up. And then I'm a little bit on the back foot because of that, and I do get overtaken coming into this corner, but then also someone in front spins of his own accord, I think. So it's quite a crazy first part of the first lap, and then I get overtaken on the inside. It's basically just a bit of a nightmare. I kind of get hung out to dry a little bit, as you can see. Just that little being in the wrong place at the wrong time, if you like, and then I get hung out to dry, and I end up back in 6th place. So I'd made up places at the start, but then I've lost them again on the first lap. Now I'm aware that at this point that this kart isn't too bad. It's not great though. In terms of cornering, it's pretty decent, but in terms of straight line speed, it's not that great. And as you'll see, if you're sort of keeping an eye on the lap times, my lap times in this race, and in fact the next race as well, aren't quite as good as the lap times that I was achieving in the first race. Now this guy in the red has just been sort of put back into the field. He must have sort of stalled coming round to the first lap or something like that. So he's been put back into the place that he sort of would have been if he hadn't had any issues. And that's that's just keeping things fair. So yeah, I'm in 6th place, and basically at this point I'm just trying to get back to that 5th place that I had in the first race. So I'm going for this guy in front, and I feel like I've got the speed on him because I've managed to catch up in those few corners. It's just a case of where am I going to get past. Obviously I don't want to do anything too risky because it's the second lap and you've got loads of people behind you ready to just fly straight past you if you make any little mistake. So he manages to get through there. I think there was a little bit of a knock, so that puts me up into 5th place as well. And then I dive to the inside through here, and the move actually works this time. So I managed to get up in the inside, get into 4th place. I get a little bit of a hit in the back, but that's okay. And I've noticed that in terms of turning right is where this kart has a bit of issues. So if you look around this first corner, you'll notice that I get a bit of a hit in the back. And that's basically, there it is there, because the kart behind me had a lot more speed coming through that first corner. And that's because this kart, it seems to have issues turning right. So maybe it's something to do with the tyre pressures or something like that. But it just can't turn right as quick as other karts can. So yeah, there are issues that I'm trying to manage with this kart. I know it's not the quickest. I know there's people behind me who may be coming up to try and overtake me, who are quicker. And there he is there. That's the guy in the red who was fed back in initially. So yeah, I know that he's quicker. I know that he's got a quicker kart because he's been able to catch me up. So if I'm going to fight him off once he's overtaken me, I have to get back through straight away, and that's what I managed to do. And that's basically, that's the whole idea of what I'm trying to do here. When I'm trying to defend when the guy's got a quicker kart, I have to make sure that if he does get past me, I get back past him as soon as possible. So I do manage to do that, and I managed to hold him off for another lap. and then, you know, because he's got a quicker kart, he obviously goes for an overtake there on the inside, but I managed to keep that position. But because he's got a quicker kart, you know, it's not too difficult for him to catch up if there's any issues. So, you know, if I make a mistake, then he's pretty much straight through. But if he makes a mistake, or, you know, tries to overtake me and it doesn't really work out, then I'm straight on. He's straight back on my tail. You know, I don't really get a bit of a breather, and that's what you're noticing here. So he's tried a couple of overtakes. You know, he's tried to get past me a couple of times, but he's still right there. You know, he hasn't lost any time from that because he's just so much quicker. And there's a sense of inevitability with it. You know, there's only so much defending that you can do, and so long you can do it for when you've got such a reasonably big disadvantage. So there is a sense of inevitability, but you kind of want to hold people up as much as possible, because you never know, someone might then catch up to him and start overtaking him. So he is right on the back bumper of me now, so I defend really hard going into this corner, but then he does manage to come up the inside there. It is quite a rough move, that, which is why I shook my head. You know, he basically just slammed straight into the side of me. If there wasn't bumpers on this kart, that would have been you know, a pretty big incident with the open wheels and things like that. You know, it wasn't necessarily the cleanest move, but then again, you know, as I said, there was a sense of inevitability with it. He was probably going to overtake me anyway, so, you know, what can you do? So yeah, basically, you know, that's how this race finishes. I did make places in the first corner. I lost places on the first lap. I managed to gain places on the second lap, and then I lost another place further on during the race. So again, another 5th place. So 5th was pretty much my position at this point. That's where I was. Again, some decent points, you know, not too bad. If that's what I consider average, then that's pretty good for me. You know, I'm quite happy with 5th place out of 30 drivers. 5th place is something that I'm pretty happy with getting in these races. You know, as I've said before in previous episodes, you know, I'm not the most experienced racer in the world. You know, I'm not as quick as what you might think that I am based on the last couple of episodes. I've had some really good rounds in the last couple of episodes, but in general, you know, I'm not the greatest. I don't have the most experience or anything like that. All I try to do is just improve every time I go racing, and just have some interesting, fun races and just enjoy it. So yeah, 5th place I'm pretty happy with that so far. And again, in the third race, I'm in 5th place again after the first corner. The first 4 kind of get a bit of a jump on me, but I managed to consolidate the 5th place at the start. And you know, again, that's just my position. It seems, you know, that's just where I'm at. Now the battling is going on up front. I'm just making sure to keep that 5th place so I can so I don't lose any more behind me, because obviously, you know, once you lose 1 place on the first lap, you can end up losing 5 or 6 just because there's so many other people waiting to pounce straight behind. So I'm consolidating the 5th place, and I know that people are battling up front, so I know that catching up to them isn't going to be as difficult as what it would normally be, and that's what I managed to do here. As you can see, I am catching up a little bit in terms of getting around these corners a little bit quicker, because they are battling with each other. And again, this kart, if you notice the lap times, the lap times are a little bit better than the previous heat, but they're not fantastic. You know, they're still not on the pace of the kart that I had in the first heat. So again, you know, I'm aware that I think it's mainly straight line speed in this one that I have a bit of an issue with. As you can see there, the guy in 4th place goes for an overtake on the guy in 3rd. Now I don't know why the guy in 3rd decided to suddenly cut across the grass. He could have just given up the place, but that suits me. I'm quite happy with that, because that gets me another position. So again, up into 4th, you know, 4th place, 5th place, around that area has been pretty much where I've been at in these races so far. And the guy in 3rd place does manage to drive away from me a little bit, and that's when I kind of realised that, okay, I probably don't have the speed in this kart to push on for the higher spots. Just try and consolidate this 4th place, and just try and keep it going forward, and get another good result, if you like, another good points finish. So again, in the same way as in the second race, I know that because I know that this kart isn't quite as quick, I know that I'm going to have to do a little bit of a defensive drive at some point. I know that there's some guys who are behind me who are going to be a bit quicker. So, you know, because everyone's so close in this championship, a lot of people, if given, you know, identical karts, could get very, very close lap times. It would be within tenths of a seconds and things like that. So, you know, you are aware that if someone has a bit of a quicker kart and they are behind you, they are going to come and try to challenge you, because, you know, everyone's quick, everyone's got that ability to do it. Now here I managed to keep my position there in that corner, but then I just get pretty much driven straight past. You know, that's the difference in the karts there. So again, another sense of inevitability. There's not a lot I can do about that, just straight past. I didn't get a good run out of the last corner, but even so, with such a difference in kart performance as that, there's not a lot I could have done in that position. So I'm back down into my 5th place, back at home, and with only 4 laps to go, I figure, you know, I can hopefully hold on to this 5th place, not lose too many more. Again, there's another guy who's caught me up, so he's right on my backside again. And you know, I'm aware, obviously there's the guy who just overtaken me. As you can see, he's way in the distance now, but I do get overtaken here on the inside. You know, again, I've lost another place, but it's not too bad. You know, it's only 1 place that I've lost. Now I managed to get a good run out of that corner, and I'm starting to get a little bit of a run here, but I just do a little bit of an error, you know, a little bit of a mistake there that causes me untold troubles, if you like. So what I did, I just braked a little bit too late. I went into the back of the guy in front of me, and then that caused me to spin around. You know, it was just a bit of a nightmare, a bit of an error. Again, as I was saying at the start of the video, this was one of those weeks really where I just made stupid mistakes. You know, I wasn't feeling 100% on it, and that was what told. But I managed to catch up to the guy who had overtaken me. Obviously, I went down into 8th place. Now, I managed to catch up to the guy in 7th place quite quickly. So he's obviously got a problem. Like, as you can see in terms of that straight, if I think I've got problems in terms of the straight line speed of my kart, then he's got real problems, because there's some serious issues there. I can actually get alongside him even with a kart that I consider to be slow. So obviously, you know, he's doing a defensive drive again, and basically what you're going to watch is the way that you do a defensive drive. You know, as soon as this guy passed me, you know, you get to know the people who you race against. You know, you're racing against them every month. You get to know what they're like, what they're good at, things like that. And I'm aware that this guy is always very good at defending. You know, that's pretty much his great strength. If you're behind him, it's very, very difficult to get past. So as soon as he passed me, once I'd made that mistake, I thought, oh god, great. You know, of all the people who could be in front of me, he's the one who I would want the least, if you like. So yeah, I am a lot quicker than him, as you can see. You know, I've managed to catch up very, very quickly to the back of him, but I'm just finding it hard to get past. And obviously there's not a lot of time left. I made the mistake on lap 7 or 8 or something like that, so there isn't a lot of time left in the race. This is the last lap now, and I just can't get it done. You know, I just can't get the overtake done, because he's doing a very good job at putting his kart in the places that he needs to put it. Now again, as I was saying, you know, maybe I'm being a little bit critical of myself, because people are quite good in general at defending in this championship, and it is quite difficult to overtake. But maybe I can improve. You know, that's somewhere where I can improve on my overtaking. Maybe I can be a little bit more aggressive or something like that. I don't know, I prefer to keep it as clean as possible, but when you've got other people who aren't keeping it clean, then, you know, well, you might as well, again, it's a case of knowing who you're racing against. For example, the guy in the red in the second race, he made that big dive up the inside at the last corner. Maybe in the next time when I'm behind him, I'll make that same dive, whereas if it was on someone who was a bit more clean, then I wouldn't do that. You know, it's about knowing who you're racing against. And as you saw there, you know, because I got held up behind the guy in blue, I get overtaken right on the second to last corner or something. You know, just a total nightmare really. That race wasn't my best, and I ended up in 9th place. So the mistake really dropped me from pretty much 6th or even 7th to 9th. So a bit of a nightmare, that one really, and that's caused my points for the final to put me into 7th place. So I started in 7th place in the final, because basically, you know, your points from the first 3 heats determine your position in the final, and that last race really gave me issues. So 7th place, you know, it's obviously, this is where the trophies are handed out. This is where it all happens. The guy in front of me and the guy in front of him make a little mistake and go a bit wide on that first corner. So again, I make places at the start, and that's something that I've done on all of these races so far. So I've made places. You know, I'm in 5th place again. You know, that 5th place is mine once more, and again I'm trying to consolidate that 5th place. Now there's a guy on the inside of me there, but not far enough up the inside, so I managed to keep it there. And again, the 4 guys in front of me are all fighting between themselves. I'm just trying to consolidate this 5th position, let everybody behind fight it out, and then I'll start to see if I can push on to get up into that 4th place, 3rd place, or something like that. Now in this one, I actually get a bit of a break because the kart is a little bit better than what I've had. So obviously, you know, it's all swings and roundabouts. Sometimes you get a bad kart, sometimes you get a good kart. You just have to minimize the time that you lose when you have a bad kart and maximize your positions when you get a good kart. So in the first race I had a reasonably decent kart. In the second and the third races it wasn't that great, but now in the final where the trophies are handed out, I've got a pretty decent kart, and that's kind of what you want, really. You know, you want a kart that's going to give you at least a fighting chance in the final to get a trophy, and thankfully that's what I've got. So as you can see here, we're coming on to the 4th lap now, and in the previous laps I've been able to catch up to these guys in front of me, put in some decent lap times, and I've managed to catch them up because they are fighting. Now the guy in 1st place has gone, so basically the people in front of me are in 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and that's pretty much, you know, 2nd would probably at this point be the maximum that I could get. If I was able to make 3 really good overtakes in the next 8 laps, then 2nd place I could manage to get a 2nd place trophy. But obviously, you know, at this point I'm not really thinking about that. In this race, all I'm thinking about is just getting in front of the guy in front of me. You don't really have a thought of where you might be able to come or what you might be able to do or anything like that. Everything happens so quickly, and you don't really want to be thinking about anything other than the race and focus on the race that you're currently in. Now at this point I don't have any worries about people behind me. The guys in front of me and myself all have managed to get a little bit of a gap to everybody behind. So, you know, I can make errors, if you like, when I'm trying to overtake, and, you know, lose a little bit of time here and there when I'm trying to overtake, and it's not going to have any effect on me because there's nobody behind me that can overtake me and punish me for it. And that gives you a little bit more leeway when it comes to trying overtaking maneuvers, because, you know, you've got that sort of safety net of nobody being behind you where you can go for a move, and if it doesn't work, you're not going to lose out too much. And because I've managed to catch up to these guys, I know that I'll be able to catch up again. So I managed to he goes defensive in this part of the corner, and then he comes over to the left, but I managed to get a really nice run out of here. He misses the apex just slightly, and it allows me to get up the inside, and that manages to put me into 4th place. Now again, it's about, I've made the overtake, so I have to defend. I have to make sure I consolidate this position, and that's what I do. I defend into this corner, make sure to keep this 4th place, and then I manage to drive away from him. So again, I do realise that I have a quick kart, and at this point, once I've been released from behind him, I put in some really quick laps. As you can, if you see when we cut to the next part of the race, you'll see in the right hand side on the lap counter that the lap times are really quick, and it always gives you an added incentive to go a little bit quicker when you are chasing people down. You know, if you realise that you might be able to chase someone down and get a better position, it does give you a little bit more speed. And, you know, it's just a psychological thing, I think. But when at this point I'm aware that the 2 guys in front of me are battling it out, so we'll be a little bit slower. I'm aware that if I overtake just one of them, I get a trophy. You know, those things help you just push on a little bit more, if you like, and just get a bit of extra speed out of the kart. So as you can see, you know, I put in some really good laps from low 1 minute 6s, and this is actually what you're watching now, my best lap that I've ever done. You know, so if you've been, you know, paying attention to the lap times that I've been getting throughout the course of this series, my best lap has gradually come down and down and down, and this lap that you're watching now is actually a 1 minute 6.1. So it's getting a lot closer to, and the best lap of the day was a 1 minute 5.9, so I was only 2/10 off the best lap of the day. This was, I think, the 5th best lap of the whole day. So, you know, I'm getting closer. Those best lap times, my personal lap record, if you like, is coming down, just little bits by little increments every single time. But that's good, you know. That's what I like to see. It's just showing that bit of improvement. I do have the inherent speed that I need. It's just getting there, getting better and better. And you know, given the right situation, a really quick kart on a really good day in perfect conditions, I would probably be able to be right on the pace in terms of getting a 1:05, and that's probably the next thing to get. I've had 1:06s. 1:05 is pretty much the next thing that I want in terms of breaking through a lap time. So yeah, you know, I think the lap record is a 1:05.8 or something like that. So I'm not too far off. Again, you know, it's gradually coming down, gradually getting closer and closer. And that 1:06.1 that I've just done has allowed me to really catch up to these guys in front. And now the battle is on really for the trophies. Obviously, this is second, third, and fourth. This is where the trophies are handed out. Their trophies are handed out for first, second, and third. So finishing in fourth place is the difference. You know, that's the difference between getting a trophy and not getting a trophy, if you like. So yeah, at this point, you know, I have managed to catch up, but again, there's only 2 laps left. You know, I haven't left myself a lot of time to make an overtake really, and as you can see, I'm right on his tail. You know, I do have an inherent speed in terms of straight line speed, but I'm never going to get an overtake done around the outside of the first corner. That's never going to happen. And he generally has some good defensive, does a good defensive drive as well. So you know, it's difficult to, once you're up at this kind of level and you're up at the top end like this, even if you have managed to catch up while other people have been battling, that's very different to being able to actually overtake. You know, everyone is so close on pace that actually getting an overtaking move done, especially when someone knows how to defend well, is very difficult. And you'll find that as you're watching this, it just doesn't happen for me. You know, I just can't get that overtake done. Again, I've got no worries about the person behind me because he's way behind, so I can make these moves and not be worried about losing any places or anything. But I just can't get it done. You know, again, maybe I'm being too harsh on myself in terms of thinking that I can actually get better at overtaking, but I feel like I should be able to get overtaking moves done and I'm not getting them done. So I'll see how it goes. I'll see if I can look to improve on that, and that's what I'll look to improve on next. But in terms of this round as in general, you know, I finished 4th in this one, obviously, as you'll be aware and as you'll see. But I've had, you know, a 4th place, 2 5th places, and a 9th place. Now that 9th place was a little bit of a nightmare, but it wasn't too bad. You know, it wasn't the worst thing that could have happened. And I do get a decent haul of points in this one. I get 69 points, as you'll see at the end, and that actually equals my worst of the season. 69 points is what I got in the first round, and that is the worst score that I've actually had this season. But when you consider that the worst score I had in the previous season was 33 points, and my second best score was 71, you know, I'm certainly doing a hell of a lot better than what I did last season, and that's all I'm looking for. That's all I've ever been looking for, just to show some improvement over last season and show that I'm actually getting better and better. And really, if I'm considering 69 points to be average or even, you know, a bit disappointing, then that's pretty good for me. You know, I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, this race is finished now, and that's what a quarter of a second looks like at the finish line, and that's the difference between getting a trophy and not getting a trophy. So this round has been, you know, distinctly average. I would say average is a good term for how this round has been. Nothing special, nothing majorly bad. 69 points is what I got, which is, you know, I can't really complain with that. That's really good. It does equal my worst of the season, but considering that this time last season I got 71 and that was the second highest that I got all season, I can't be disappointed. I'm doing a lot better than I did last season, and that's all I want to see. So thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. If you'd leave all your likes and comments down below. I really enjoy making these videos for you guys, so I hope you enjoy watching them. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.